Hello and welcome to the first in a few video parts here on marketing with LinkedIn. And this is, without a doubt, my number one platform, one that I have used time and time again over the last, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 years. And it is really interesting to see how it has evolved into arguably maybe the second most powerful um, company branding social network. Um, Obviously, it depends on the industry that you're in, but LinkedIn has gone through some massive transformations over the decades, and we're gonna go over some of that here today. So, let's begin with a quick introduction. LinkedIn actually is older than Facebook, believe it or not. It was started in 2002, and I remember I got on it around 2008, I think, and it was really, oh man, it was really basic. Not a lot to it. I know a lot of people that would be watching this might not be aware of kind of what LinkedIn or a lot of social media looked like in the late 2000s, but it was pretty simple. There wasn't a lot to it, but it was always meant to be a professional network and a place to build connections. That has not changed. Today we have well over a billion users. Um, they claim 200 countries. I don't believe there are actually 200 countries on Earth, but they count territories and other places like that. In 2016, Microsoft bought LinkedIn, which kind of put them into the social media game per se with Meta and at the time Twitter and a couple of the other behemoths. So now we have, LinkedIn being one of, I would say, one of the big five or six social networks that are out there. Um, LinkedIn, if you were to go to the website and like do this research for yourself, you'd see that they call their users members. Um, and I believe that's because of the kind of information you need to provide in order to build a LinkedIn profile. Um, you know, Unlike a lot of the other social networks, LinkedIn is really, a lot of the traction and success that you'll see is based on people going to your profile, whereas a lot of the other platforms, it is based on the content you post. LinkedIn, the content is still important and it has been improving. The algorithm's been improving and the relevance of content has always been increasing. But the the importance of the profile on LinkedIn, I would argue, is probably greater than that of Facebook, of Twitter, or X, of Instagram, TikTok, all of those. Because on LinkedIn, you don't usually follow or connect with somebody based on one post you see. You're probably going to do your research a little bit to learn a little bit more about that person. Um, I would also say that LinkedIn has less of a bot problem, less of a spam problem. Whereas, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been friended on every other social network by accounts that were clearly fake or AI generated. And LinkedIn, I have not yet seen that. Now, I have seen people from other parts of the world that are looking for a job, that are sending me sales pitches. Sure, that happens pretty frequently, but I know that they're all real. So that's the one big advantage, or I guess the other big advantage, I should say. And you see it come through with the statistics. Um, as we see, just like everything else, 25 to 34-year-old age group is the largest. I think that just kind of goes without saying. The gender breakdown is a little bit more stark than most other platforms we've seen here. You're 43% female, 57% male, and only 50%, 7% access via mobile. And to me, that speaks to the professional and kind of the use case for this. On a personal level, people are usually on LinkedIn during business hours. Things like platforms like Instagram and TikTok, Facebook, X, Twitter, people are on there at all times of day, in particular at night before they go to bed, maybe right after work when they're home. in the morning. That might be the first thing they do when they wake up. LinkedIn is more of a getting settled at your desk, whether that's at home or an office, then logging in and checking out LinkedIn. That will come back here in a moment when we talk about some tips. Other than that, everything else here is pretty standard. I'm one of my big things on LinkedIn is that this is without a doubt the leading platform for B2B marketers. When I talked about influencer marketing in a previous playlist, I talked about how there was not as much of a use case for B2B. I would say this is the opposite. This is absolutely where B2B companies can come to thrive. Whether that is on a personal profile and a company profile, that they both work. And I would argue that's because a lot of the people that are on LinkedIn that are usually here on the platform for whatever reason, a lot of them work in a B2B environment. And really, that's kind of what you see here with these numbers. But the rest of this this presentation here is about the company page, the side of LinkedIn. There's a couple small parts here, but we are really here for the LinkedIn company page. So I'm just going to go over what the company page is, and then we'll move on to the next video here. So, a company when you create a LinkedIn profile for yourself, you go through, you add your photo, your background, your about description. We're not going to go through all that in this presentation. Hopefully, you're already there. You've already created that. But when you create a profile, it asks for employment and experiences. And when you enter in your company that you worked for, it'll try to tie it to a company profile. That is also known as a company page. The company page is very different than the personal page. And I would argue, this isn't for sure, but the algorithm is a little different as well. The number one thing that people use company pages for, I would say on a personal level, is to find jobs. Either that or connect their experience. The number two thing that they really use it for is to learn about the business or the industry. But if you want to think about it really in psychological terms, then, think about how people on social media are generally self-interested, right? You can follow a company page like you would any account on another social network. Like you don't connect with them like you do personal connections. It's not a two-way street, it's a one-way street. But when you follow a company page, you are doing so for a reason. And there have been graphs and tables, and if you've used the textbook that goes along with this presentation, you'll see it's like, oh, I want industry insights. I want to learn about the business. Well, if you're applying for a job, or you're considering applying for a job, or you already work there, sure. But if not, then chances are you're following the company for one of two reasons. One, you find the content valuable and interesting. It pleases you as if you think of it from a very basic human level. Or on the other side, you are legitimately following them as an educational opportunity. Like, oh, okay, this company is posting really informational, really interesting tips and tricks about SEO, about social media, about whatever. And we've seen a lot of different companies kind of lean into that over the years. And that's kind of the essence of the company page and just kind of how it exists. But really, the bigger question is, how does a company page work in a larger marketing strategy? And how does it operate within, compared to personal pages? So one of the last things I just want to talk about here is, and it relates to this, is there are now premium company pages that you can get. They are $99 a month. And these are for the company pages that are going all in, trying to really drive followers. There's all sorts of cool little things that they offer. The one thing I think that is pretty interesting, that's of interest, I should say, to me, is the auto invite. And what it does is people who engage with your page at any level, are automatically invited to follow the page. This is normally something that you have to do on a personal level, where if you're an admin for the company page, you can go in and invite your followers, which LinkedIn always tries to get you to do. I personally almost never do that. Um, but what I do is if I have a premium page, I'm trying to find ways to engage with people that don't already know about the company. And I really am trying to provide them content that will be of interest to them. And we'll talk about those content types in the next video. But really, the auto invite is, I would say, the biggest advantage to the premium company page. And it can certainly drive big numbers. The question is, what do you do after you get those? Last slide here for this first video, though, is the showcase page. So I just wanted to establish the hierarchy of pages here on LinkedIn. There's the personal page. There's the company page. And then a subset of the company page is the showcase page. You see this for a lot of sub-brands of larger organizations, like this example here with Amazon. This is just one of several scrolls of Amazon showcase pages. I believe there's like 60 Amazon showcase pages where Amazon has a page, a parent page, and then it's got all these niche showcase pages with content that is very specific to all the different things that are going on there. To me, this is pretty fascinating because most of us are never going to be in a position where a showcase page is necessary. At Wayne State, I have seen a couple different iterations of showcase pages because sometimes colleges will use showcase pages instead of the larger university. Or you'll see like a department that is a showcase page. When, in reality, there's not a ton of difference. Like the main reason to be a showcase page is, or to have a showcase page is to have it connected hierarchic, below the parent company page in the hierarchy. That doesn't change anything for the algorithm. That doesn't change anything for who sees your content. A showcase page still operates as an organization that you can list under your experiences on your personal profile. Really, the only thing is that you can't post jobs to showcase pages. So, there's a lot of different things to do with it, but I just want to kind of get that out there. But really, the goal of showcase pages, you want specific business lines, products, or initiatives, and you are attracting a very specific subset audience of the larger parent. For something like Amazon, IBM's got a ton of them. They have showcase pages that are just going to be of greater value and are going to make more sense for people to follow if they work in those specific lines. For example, I used to be an Amazon seller. There's sellers by Amazon. I don't think it's on this list here, but I follow that because they would provide like real information and help for people that sell on Amazon and the products and like how to optimize your listings, how to improve your inventory standing, all things like that. Whereas I would never follow the parent Amazon page unless I'm looking for like large scale announcements, which they don't usually post. So, yeah, that's an overview of not just LinkedIn, but how the different profiles work. Coming up next, we'll talk about the components of a LinkedIn post and how content operates.